Welcome to Freedom Briefs, brought to you by the American Security Council Foundation. I am your host, Joy Vautrebeck. Freedom Briefs gives us a little glimpse into national and economic security issues. And if you would like to hear more about these articles, you can go on our website at www.ascf.us. We have Alan Dowd back with us today to talk about his second part in missile defense called Partners in Progress on Missile Defense. Alan, welcome back.
Good to be back. Good to be with you all the time, Joy.
I hope you had a very good New Year.
Did. Ready to get 23 going.
Exactly. So your article speaks to numerous missile defense systems that exist between the U.S. and our allies. On our last Freedom Brief, we've talked about these systems, the THAAD, the Patriot, and we didn't talk about the Iron Dome, but you did in this article. So they all are very impressive. Could you give us a little brief on the capability of anti-missile systems, and are any of them able to intercept a hypersonic missile?
Well, a couple of parts of the system we didn't talk about, I think, last time were the ground-based interceptors, which are based in Alaska right now. There's a bed of them in Alaska and a bed of them in California, and then also the really probably they're all important parts of what's called a layered defense, but the Aegis sea-based defenses are very important, which are floating around. Obviously, unlike the stuff on land, they can be moved much more easily and fairly quickly. And there's sensors on those ships as well as interceptors. There's also a land-based version of the Aegis system called Aegis Ashore. So those are some of the parts of the system. Iron Dome is mostly used by Israel. The Arrow and Iron Dome, those systems have been co-developed by the United States. Again, they're kind of designed like layers. Parts are designed to hit an incoming threat further out, and then some more at the terminal or down at the end phase. And I think one of the branches, I don't know if it's the Marines or Army, are starting to borrow or implement maybe part of the Iron Dome system, which is really effective at short-range rocket attacks and protecting bases and smaller footprint area, not really a city. But those are some of the layers of the network to layered defense, missile defense that we didn't talk about last time. But going to your heart of your question, the hypersonics, theoretically they can intercept them. But as we, I think, discussed last time, hypersonics are coming in at a different trajectory. They're coming in very low and very fast. So they're going to be harder to intercept. And I don't know. I really can't speak to it. I don't believe there's been any testing done of that. The Russians have used hypersonics, at least some, in their war against Ukraine. I don't know. I think it's just a handful of times. They're expensive, and the Russian technology spigot has been shut off, because of all the sanctions from most of the free world, which is a good thing. So I think the Russians may have used them all or are husbanding some of those resources, but they have them and they've used them in anger already. The Chinese have tested them. Of course, we have them and have tested them. Some people say we're behind, but the effectiveness of missile defenses against them is, I think, unknown largely, to be honest. But like we said last time, they move very quickly and at a lower trajectory inside the atmosphere, and they're maneuverable in ways, from what I understand. Again, I'm not a rocket scientist.
Right.
And maneuverable in ways that ICBMs or even other kinds of missiles, short range and medium range missiles are not.
Well, you might not be a rocket scientist, but you certainly gave me a good education last time, and I did not realize how maneuverable they were, the precision they have.
Yeah, they are, and they are very fast for sure. But that's why we talked. I think you closed us last time on allies, and this is one of the reasons allies are so important, because the sensor systems and the sharing of information is so key to effective missile defense. So there's 20 countries plus the NATO alliance. Many of the members of NATO are part of it. So you have into the dozens of countries that are part of what I've called for almost 15 years, International Missile Defense Coalition. It really is not a national missile defense anymore. It's international missile defense, and these partners, these allies are essential. Each partner plays a different role. Some host everything: radars, interceptors, sensors. Some host just early warning radars. Some allies deploy different kinds of interceptors, like Poland and Romania might have some kind of interceptors, and the Japanese might have a different kind, and the Saudis and the Qataris a different kind. Really, the Japanese, by the way, in the United States, they've done a lot of co-development. The Americans and the Israelis, a lot of co-development. Those two allies have really done a lot.
Yeah, I was really happy to hear about Israel allowing, the base, U.S. base there for anti-missile defense. Yeah,
it's our first base on Israeli soil is for missile defense, and we work with the Israelis very closely on that. And you can understand why the Israelis and the Japanese would be so forward-leaning on missile defense. It's because of their neighbors. The neighborhoods they're in are very dangerous. And it's now, sadly, it's routine in Israel and Japan to have the air raid sirens go off and to have some type of inbound threat coming at these two allies. And in Japan's case, it's North Korea, erratically, spasmodically firing off missile tests, some of them flying over Japanese territory in the atmosphere and landing in the ocean. In Israel's case, they're usually rockets, not missiles, or drones fired by Iranian proxies north of Israel, whether it be Syria or Lebanon. And this explains why these two countries are so committed to missile defense and why it's so important for us to partner with them, and we are, and that's a good thing.
And so much a need for that Iron Dome there in Israel.
That's right, and they've used it many times, to great effect, and saved who knows how many lives to knock down these inbound threats. They're literally using missile defenses regularly to save lives. Japan hasn't had to do that yet, but they have missile defenses on Japanese territory ready for that.
And you have a new article out on Japan, so everyone can check that out on our website at www.ascf.us, and we'll be talking about that in our next upcoming Freedom Brief. But my last question to you is, you alluded a little to our allies, and the American Security Council Foundation has the motto of peace through strength. So could you brief us a little on the peace element in your article?
Yes. It's sometimes the obvious is overlooked or not noticed, but missile defenses are by definition defensive. They are not offensive. They are not used to target a city, target a plane, target a civilian population center. They're used to protect population centers and bases and installations from attack by missiles. They're used to destroy the offensive weapon. They are instruments of peace, not war. We've seen that work a lot over the past couple decades. I mean, I can't give you a full laundry list, but I can give you some of the highlights. In 2003, in the early stages of the Iraq War, U.S. missile defenses intercepted 9 inbound Iraqi missiles that would have decapitated the coalition's headquarters in Kuwait. In 2014, you mentioned, Joy, you know this, but some of our listeners may not, but Israel's Iron Dome rocket defense system intercepted 735 inbound threats.
Yes, very
It has a kill rate of 90%. It intercepts these targets 90% of the time. In 2016, Saudi Patriot missile defense batteries knocked down missiles fired from Iranian-backed rebels in Yemen. Saudi Arabia's U.S.-supplied Patriot anti-missile systems have a 90% success rate. Also, that same year in 2016, Aegis, sea-based U.S. missile defenses operating off the coast of Yemen, destroyed an inbound cruise missile that would have tripled the USS Mason operating in international waters. The list goes on and on. Israel's Arrow anti-missile system tallied its first real-world intercept in 2017. That's a little bit of a longer range. defensive anti-missile system. And on it goes. In 2022, just last year, the UAE used its U.S.-built THAAD system on 2 separate occasions to intercept ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones. The whole phalanx of attacks were fired by Houthi militants, which are Iranian-backed militants. And
yes,
they were
targeting.
About
last time, very impressive THAAD system.
The THAAD, no doubt about it. But that's the first time it's been used in any other way than testing. And it helped protect the Al Dhafra Air Base, where U.S. forces are deployed. And so missile defenses are being used. They're working. Of course, they're being used in Ukraine. And Ukrainians up till now have been using old Soviet-built missile defenses and air defense systems. And now they're going to be using U.S.-built Western missile defenses going forward.
Excellent.
You know, Reagan
I'm
is
sure
our...
that makes Putin really happy.
Oh, and it hopefully will save lives, and I think it will. Reagan, who is kind of our guide star, as you know better than I, in American Security Council, he saw missile defense as a pathway to a peaceful world. He said this: "What if free people could live secure in the knowledge that their security did not rest upon the threat of instant retaliation to deter a Soviet attack? What if we could intercept and destroy missiles before they reached our soil or that of our allies? This, if we could do this, would pave the way for arms control and ultimately the elimination of the missiles themselves, because they would be rendered ineffective." As Reagan, he always was far-sighted. Missile defense is about peace through strength, and it's about keeping the peace, maintaining the peace, and protecting innocence.
Yes, he was very wise in his thought process on that. And for
Absolutely.
our listeners, you can read more on, or you can read Alan's entire article on our website, and it's titled Partners in Progress on Missile Defense, again at www.ascf.us. Please subscribe to our channels YouTube and Rumble, and follow us on Facebook. And join us next time for our Freedom Brief. And we will be having more podcasts in the future, so thank you, Alan, again.
Good to be here. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
If you would like to support the American Security Council Foundation, please visit www.ascf.us. Thanks so much, and have a great day.